Victory in SAS2, most depends on how well you use your ships. Ships are only useful when put into fleets which have orders. This happens in the operational phase of each turn. Though these orders may be adjusted in the tactical phase, adjustments can't make bad plans much better, so, good operational planning is crucial to success. What is a fleet? A fleet is formed from ships that start at the same place and are fit for duty. The only other rule is that surface ships can't mix with submarines. But as several fleets can occupy a single hex, subs in one fleet can work with surface ships in another fleet in the same hex. Fleets can be created, in any turn, by you manually, by your 2IC, or by both in the same turn. Each fleet needs a purpose, what your 2IC calls a mission. It also needs battle orders, also known as rules of engagement. Okay, that's enough of the preliminaries. Let's now see some examples. We are the Italians, in the Mediterranean. It is July, 1940. The order of battle here is historical. Click the wall map, then, view ship roster, to see all your ships. You have 6 battleships, including 2 of the very new and fast Littorio class. One of your older battleships is in refit and a month from being ready. You have many heavy and light cruisers, including the 4 Zara class heavy cruisers, possibly the best designed such cruisers of the war in any navy to date. You have many large and smaller destroyers and escort ships, and the largest submarine fleet in the world after Russia. It is our first game, so we will need help from our 2IC. Close the ship roster, then the wall map. Now, on the blackboard, click, deploy, then, form fleets. Your 2IC offers to plan all your fleet ops for the turn. Before agreeing, let's see his reasoning. Click, change strategy, to view and optionally change his approach. The first thing to note is the strategy he is following. It is a cautious strategy. As player, you can change this at any time to something more or less aggressive. A cautious strategy is what the Italians actually followed. Their navy was powerful, but hampered by lack of oil. Their reserves were only enough for 18 months of operations. This limited fleet exercises, and therefore training levels, and prevented frequent large-scale deployments. Consequently, the Italians favored using small ships for submarine patrol and mine-laying. For frequent attacks, they relied on their large, land-based air force which could reach into most of the Mediterranean. Their big ships often were held back, waiting to sortie only when propitious. Okay, now back to the game. Let's see how a cautious strategy influences fleet ops. First, it limits the number of ships that can be at sea in a turn. Here, the limit is 50% of total tonnage, which will help conserve fuel. Second, it affects how missions get selected. The list on the right excludes very aggressive missions like close blockade and bombardment. And defensive missions are prioritized over offensive ones by being higher in the list. These settings can all be changed. But first, let's see what your 2IC comes up with. Click to close this dialog. Then, click Yes to get your 2IC to work.
Solo per I tuoi occhi. Un piano operativo completo per il periodo in anticipo.
He tries to satisfy all the selected missions, in priority order, given where your suitable ships are located. Okay, let's see his missions. There are a couple of convoys, including one running supplies to Benghazi, which he knows is running low. There are several defensive submarine patrols, a defensive mine-laying fleet, and a small reconnaissance mission. 2 larger fleets are on defensive patrol, one that is cruiser strength out of La Spezia, and a larger one, with one older battleship, out of the main naval base at Taranto. But the fleet sticks fairly close to port. There are 3 offensive missions, but they are small-scale, submarines out of Palermo, a cruiser force from La Spezia, and some mine layers also. Note where the mine layers are concentrating on, mainly, the crucial Sicilian Narrows, which British convoys to Malta from Gibraltar must traverse. The remaining 70 or so ships, just over 50% of the total navy, are staying at home, in 8 separate ports. This includes the bulk of the fleet at Taranto. All these fleets have orders to sail only if an enemy comes too close. Hence, they are called ready reaction fleets. These orders are actually pretty authentic. In July 1940, the Italians sent a convoy to Benghazi, and their covering fleet from Taranto got into a major action with the British Mediterranean fleet. This first biggish engagement of the war was known as the Battle of Calabria, or Punta Stilo, to the Italians. So, your 2IC has been effective. But in the next video, we learn how to control fleet ops yourself, which is more challenging and fun. Let's save our work first, so we can return to it in the next video. To do this, close the dialog. When the wall map automatically appears, close it too. Now click on the Files drawer and then on Save, to save the game. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video, which is part 2 of the introduction. It explains how to take control of fleet ops from your 2IC, partially or completely.